Welcome to the first lesson of life coaching with NLP techniques. Let's first take a look at what the word NLP means, because this word contains strong enough passwords to start giving us clues about NLP and human consciousness. What does N stand for? N stands for neuron. What is a neuron? They are brain cells. It is where information is stored. In NLP, neurons are re-encoded using the linguistic method. What does L stand for? L stands for linguistic. What does linguistic mean? Let me explain with an example. Using your language correctly is a linguistic approach. By choosing to say I am upset instead of saying you upset me, you are initiating a language change. The person who says you upset me is the object in the sentence, right? Whereas the person who says I am upset is the subject. The subject has the freedom to choose not to be upset or sad if he wishes. So, the last letter of NLP is P. What does P stand for? P stands for programming. What we call programming is recoding our conscious or awareness to a higher level. For example, let's say you want to quit smoking. When we say a cigarette or when we think of a cigarette, an image appears in your mind. This image is recorded in a neuron, a brain cell. With the technique, which is called changing the modalities, we change the image of cigarette into an image that you do not like. In this way, you do not want to smoke anymore. This is what we call programming. We will increase the examples in the following videos. But for now, let's hear how NLP is founded. Once in the lesson that I was taking as a student, it was asked, what is NLP? And my reply was, it is a gift. Because it's a gift from many psychologists who are experts in their own field. This is also the story of how NLP was founded. Richard Bandler and John Grinder are the founding names of NLP. They are two academics, both working at the same university. Richard Bandler is a very frivolous person. On the contrary, John Grinder is just as disciplined. However, there is a question that leads them on a common journey. The question is there a common password in human communication? Together, they decide to visit the most powerful psychologist of the time and found the answer to this question. As a result of their journey, the science of NLP started to emerge. At this point, it is necessary to get to know the history of psychology, because psychology is the father of NLP. Let's start this journey together if you wish. As a beginning, we can say that Wundt, who was the founder of Structuralist theory in Germany in the city of Leipzig in 1879, founded the first official experimental psychology laboratory. So we can say that the first school of psychology is Structuralism. The method suggested by Wundt is the method of looking inside, and the father of this method is Socrates. Introspection technique is frequently used in both life coaching and NLP techniques. The most common question of this technique is, how are you feeling? After Structuralism, Functionalism emerged immediately. Functionalism is a reaction to Structuralism. Functionalists study the cause or function of our behavior. They do not study the mind. William James. Let's get to know him. He is the first to establish the psychology laboratory in America. According to him, psychology should focus on the function or the purpose of the behavior, but not how mind works. Sometimes we ask ourselves, why did I do this? Or why did that person do this? Functionalists give the answer to this question by behavior solving. The second important name in America is John Dewey. The way of learning based on rote has been changed into more intellectual way by John Dewey. American teaching system is still functional in terms of direction and attitude today. After founding schools of psychology in America and in Europe, another school has emerged in Russia that has deeply affected the history of psychology and NLP. This school is Behaviorism, and we can say it still continues its influence. So let's go to Russia and find out how Behaviorism emerged. The famous experiments which were made on the dog of the Russian doctor Pavlov paved the way for the development of the Behaviorism school. So, what is Behaviorism? Let's summarize the Behaviorism school. They argue that environmental conditions determine human behavior but nothing else. Behaviorists are examining the effects of the environment, but only environment on individuals. They do not consider mind, genes, or etc. They claim our close or distant environment, our parents, friends, are the only thing that makes us who we are. So their claim is we are social beings and we learn by imitation. And whatever direction society shows us, we turn into it. So, can we ask now, is it so? Is environment the only factor that shapes us? I would like to answer this question at the end of this lesson. Behavioral psychologists try to prove the effect of environment on people with experiments, and they have done dozens of experiments. For example, according to the result of an experiment conducted in 1962, women's self-esteem is lower than men's. The behaviorists explain this by saying that women are taught lower self-esteem but higher self-esteem for men by society. They are right, in my opinion. For example, sociology is a science who says that witch hunts were a period when femininity and fertility were hunted, and this hunt has been going on since then. Returning to our topic, it would be appropriate to continue with the social learning theory. I would like to share the Bobo-doll experiment conducted by Albert Bandura, the representative of social learning theory. There are 3 elements in the experiment. The first is a plastic, lifeless, inflatable doll named Bobo-doll. The second is role model adults who are conscious of the experiment. Third, school-age children who are unaware of the experiment. The course of the experiment is as follows. The role model mistreats the inanimate baby named Bobo-doll. The children watching him then begin to mistreat the baby. The result of the experiment is 1. Girls imitate female role models and boys imitate male role models. 2. We imitate our environment. We learn by observation. There are many successful experiments conducted by the behaviorist school, so that is why they insist that the environment is the one and only factor that makes us who we are. At that time, the idea was so solid that psychologists who said otherwise were almost dismissed from the profession. However, one of them said, even though he was a behaviorist, among the factors that makes us who we are is our own focus of control and our perception of ourselves and the world. I am talking about Julian Rotter and the locus of control theory. This theory created a groundbreaking effect on NLP. According to the theory of locus of control, people have the ability to say on their own lives and to control the factors affecting their lives. But which people are those? People with an internal locus of control. He divides people into two as internal and external locus control people. What kind of individuals are external control-oriented individuals? Let's say they are the people who do not trust their abilities and behaviors and have the expectation that they can change the results very little. Therefore, they make little or no effort to change or improve their own situation. Individuals focused on internal control, on the other hand, think that they are 100% responsible for their own lives and act in this direction. So, what is the answer to the question of which one is more happy? Of course, individuals with an internal locus of control are much more happy. Studies reveal that internal control-oriented people are physically and mentally healthier than people focused on external control.